Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the train station. As always, I am your host, A Train, and I know I've taken a little bit of a hiatus for a while. Honestly, there really just hasn't been a lot of content that I've been comfortable with sharing outside of just streaming like Saints Row 4 on my Twitch, which you can find twitch.tv/train station podcast. So go ahead and give me a follow on there. But now that, there's more things going on, we got some big news out of the Big Ten, which I will discuss in another video. Um, and so we're starting, the NBA just had their draft, their offseason, and free agency's heating up. So we got a lot of things going on now. So, you can start expecting some more content on a regular basis. It's just kind of tough when I don't really have anything to talk about and I don't really know what to do or what to talk about. But like I said, there's things coming on now, so I got some content to talk about. So I'm going to try and get it out, as fast as I can. For those that rock with me and have always rocked with me, I appreciate it. I thank you. I don't like taking time away, especially this much time away. But, you guys have always been very understanding and have understood that, you know, either I'm not mentally up to it or I just don't have anything to talk about. And that's what this time has been. I just haven't had anything to talk about. But like I said, I do now. So let me go ahead and get right into it. Last night, we had a WWE premium live event, Money in the Bank. Now, last year's Money in the Bank, I actually was able to go to as it was in Fort Worth, Texas. Very cool event, one of my favorite events overall. The concept is fantastic. Basically, the concept of Money in the Bank is there's a females match and a men's match with a briefcase above the ring. You go on the ladder, you grab the briefcase. That briefcase guarantees you a championship shot of your choosing anytime within a year. Which I think that's why it's one of my favorite concepts, because you just never know when that person is going to cash in. So I'm gonna go ahead and give last night's prediction, or look at the show from last night, give my thoughts. Very exciting things that went on, and yeah, and then we're gonna just go from there. All right, so just like last year, this year opened up with the Money in the Bank women's ladder match, which consisted of Liv Morgan, Shotzi, Raquel Rodriguez, Lacey Evans, Becky Lynch, Asuka, Alexa Bliss, and I believe that's it. I believe it was just those six. So I know that I had the opportunity for Dallas Expo. For those that don't know, you can check my social media to get a picture with Alexa Bliss. However, I can't stand her on TV character, so I was hoping that anybody but her won the match. Starting off, Becky being inserted into the match. I know how WWE is. They love having the same women do it over and over and over again, having the same women winning. They don't know how to change things up. So I was like, okay, she's a shoe-in to win. I'm not even going to get my hopes up for anybody else to win, because it's going to be just Becky, and we're going to run back Becky and Bianca, which I will talk about in a minute. And luckily that didn't happen. Now, this match was very sloppy at times. Shotzi took some very bad bumps and had some very bad botches that looked very, very weird. They try spots that they shouldn't try and that they should leave to the men, but I understand that they want to try to be equal counterpart. It just doesn't look good. So, yada yada yada. A match goes on. Looks like Becky Lynch is going to win. At first, it looked like Lacey Evans was going to win, and I know I said I wanted anybody but Alexa, but I would have preferred Alexa to win over Lacey Evans. So I'm shaking my head like there's no way they actually give it to her. Becky comes in, beats her up, takes her out of the ladder, whatever, blah, blah, blah. things go on. Match starts to get better towards the end. Becky Lynch is on the ladder, and I said, oh boy, here we go. And out of nowhere, here comes Liv Morgan. And it looks like Liv Morgan's going to fall, but she puts her foot on the rope, catches herself, knocks Becky Lynch off, wins the Money in the Bank briefcase, Miss Money in the Bank Liv Morgan. Now, for those of you that have been following me for a very, very long time, you guys know how much of a Liv Morgan fan I am. She's my absolute favorite. So this was a big moment for me. I definitely popped. I went crazy. She's been in WWE almost 8 years now, and I have been a fan ever since. She joined at 20, going on 21. I was 18 at the time, to age me just a little bit. So she was 21, 2021 at the time. She's now 28. So I was 17, 18 at the time. Big fan of hers, always, from the time that she was wearing snapbacks, Jordans, and coming out eating pizza, till now. So, to see somebody's growth was incredible, and it was the only person in this match I really wanted to see win, but I wasn't going to get my hopes up because WWE has let me down time and time and time and time and time again, especially when it comes to my favorites. And Liv Morgan being in the WWE for 8 years, 7, 8 years, I was like, they've done nothing with her. I expect them not to give it to her, but they actually did the right call and put the title on her, which allowed her to finally get her moment after so long. We have a new Miss Money in the Bank. Now the question is, when will she cash in that contract? I will get to that later in the show to see if she actually does cash in or not. But the 2 previous winners didn't have the briefcase longer than a day. Actually, 3 previous winners didn't have the briefcase longer than a day. The longest person to have the briefcase was the inaugural winner, Carmella, who had the briefcase for 271 days. Everybody else cashed in either that night or the night after. So that kind of gives you a feeling of maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't, but she has the briefcase. How long is she going to have it for? Is she going to have it 271 days, or is she going to be like everybody else and have it less than 48 hours? Following that, we got a decent but not great United States Championship match between Bobby Lashley and Austin Theory. Austin Theory very high on Vince McMahon and Triple H's radar, kind of their handpicked guy to potentially be next in line. Very young guy, younger than me actually. I believe he's 23 years old, so young guy with loads of potential. Comes in as the current champion, Bobby Lashley. Everybody knows who that is. Been around a while, went to MMA, came back. They actually put the title on Bobby Lashley, and that was a bit surprising to me. So, like I said, it was a decent match, nothing special. But they gave it to Bobby Lashley. I didn't agree. I thought they should have continued on with Austin Theory in his title run, but with things that happened later on in the show, which I will also discuss, it makes sense, though I don't agree with the way they did it. So yeah, after that, we get probably and arguably match of the night. Unified Tag Team Championship match between the Street Profits and the Usos. A great, and I wouldn't say great, but a very, very good match. 2 very talented tag teams. The Usos show why they are one of the best in the entire world. The Street Profits are very good, very underrated team. And Montez Ford is a madman. This dude, I didn't really pay too much attention to the beginning of the match, but I jumped in, when I was watching in like the middle. This dude goes from one end of the ring to the other and flips over the entire ring post, and I was shocked. And he hit both Usos. I was shocked. I was like, wow, he really showed a lot of athleticism there. If him and Angelo Dawkins do end up splitting up, I could see a very good mid-card role for him. He just looks like he has it. Athletics. He's good in the ring. He's a great talker. The Street Profits are great talkers. But for a division that lacks so much in teams, sorely lacks in tag teams. They actually put on a great show and a great match. Or not, again, I keep using the word great. I should say good. They put on a good match and a good performance to show this is what tag team wrestling actually is, because it very much lacks in the world of WWE. I mean, it's there in NXT, and it's very good in NXT, but it lacks on the main roster tremendously. So, for them to put on arguably match of the night, very fantastic. After that match, we have the original scheduled match, and this is actually the match I turned off, which I kind of regret turning off. But we have the Smackdown Women's Championship. Actually, I skipped one. Let me go back up. Before the Usos and the Street Profits, we had the Raw Women's Championship between Bianca Belair and Carmella. Both of them are some of my favorites in the women's division. Can I just say that I absolutely loved Carmella's gear. That money gear was fire. It was fantastic. I loved her gear. She always comes out with something crazy. That gear was awesome. Bianca also had some good gear. Bianca's just so talented. This match did exactly what it needed to do. It wasn't very long. It didn't need to be long. Both got some offense in. Bianca took Carmella to a very good match. Did what it needed to do. Bianca retains the Raw Women's Championship. There's really not much to say on this match because it was just kind of there as a filler. It was supposed to be Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley, but Rhea Ripley ended up concussed. So they had to find a replacement. There's your replacement. And yeah, like I said, the match did what it needed to do. It wasn't nothing special. But the best part of that match was Carmella's gear, which if you want to go back and look at it, you can. That money gear, though, absolutely fire. Always appreciate the money gear, especially when they have gear that matches the theme of the pay-per-view. So, like, having money gear for Money in the Bank, for SummerSlam, having summer colors and bright colors. I like the gears that match with the theme of the pay-per-view. I think it makes the gear that much better. Or going all out for a pay-per-view like WrestleMania. It's like the Super Bowl of wrestling, so go out with your craziest, wildest gear, and most do, but some don't, and, I can always appreciate those that really get into it and copy, the theme of the pay-per-view to make things even better for not only themselves, but their character and everybody else and the fans watching. Way more enjoyable for everybody all around. Next, like I said, we have the Smackdown Women's Championship, Ronda Rousey versus Natalya. Like I said, I turned this match off. Was not interested in this match at all. After WrestleMania, I forget what pay-per-view was after, but Charlotte had lost to Ronda Rousey, and I said, oh no, the reign of Ronda Rousey, the reign of terror of Ronda Rousey begins. And I fully meant that. I am not a fan of Ronda Rousey. She's god-awful on the mic. She's not even that great in the ring. All of her notoriety comes from MMA before she was humbled and then went to wrestling because she got humbled in MMA. Not taking anything she did away from MMA because she obviously transcended that sport into what it is in the women's division today for MMA, but I've never been a fan of Ronda Rousey, even back in her MMA days. So I was not happy when she was the title winner. Natalya in this match at all. Oh, the SmackDown Women's Division is sorely missing Charlotte, sorely missing Bayley, sorely missing Sasha and Naomi. So sorely missing a lot of talent. And it showed in this, and it shows. But I didn't watch this match, so I don't know. Like I said, I kind of regret it because of what happened at the end. Ronda Rousey retains with the injury to her leg. Think it's over, whatever. We're going to go to the main event, blah, blah, blah. No. Liv Morgan's music hits, has briefcase in hand, cashes in her Money in the Bank. Ronda puts her in an ankle lock, and I said, no, WWE, there's no way you do this to me. You're not going to have Liv Morgan win Money in the Bank and then lose that same night. Ankle lock in. Liv Morgan kicks her bad leg. Roll up. 1, 2, 3. Liv Morgan is your new Smackdown Women's Champion, which is funny because she is a Raw superstar. So I'm interested to see how that dynamic is going to work, being on Raw, cashing in for SmackDown. Do they just automatically move her over to SmackDown? Who does Raw get? Does Raw get anybody? How do you fit that into the storyline? And that's really what I don't like about part of the reason I don't like the Money in the Bank going to a specific person on a specific show. Like, if it went to somebody who was on both shows, then it would make a lot more sense. But now they have to fill in that logic gap of, okay, this Raw superstar cashed in on the SmackDown superstar. Why? And that's where a lot of the problems that I have with this company come into, is the logic gaps that they continuously miss. And they missed a huge logic gap here. But nonetheless, I have waited for this moment for nearly 8 years. I finally get my moment. Liv finally gets her moment. Crowd popped. Crowd went crazy. Everybody wanted to see it. Social media, I've seen nothing but love for Liv Morgan. Not really a lot of hate. That really says a lot about the person that she is and the person that she has become in the industry. I can't believe they actually pulled the trigger on it. I thought for sure down the line they were going to have her hold it for a bit, and then somebody like Charlotte would come back, she'd cash in and lose. That's just how my luck usually goes with these kind of things. But they actually did the right decision and gave her the title. Ronda Rousey can go away now for a little bit. SmackDown now gets another superstar that is much sorely needed on a very depleted brand in the women's division on that show. Bayley rumored to be coming back soon as well. Very fantastic. Hopefully that's Liv's first feud and she wins. I think Bayley would be a great first feud for her, a returning feud for Bayley to go after the title. Lose to Liv, obviously put Liv over, but to have Bayley come back and have a match with Liv would be a great first step for her. I don't know what the status is on Sasha Banks and Naomi. They've been suspended for a month for walking out. I'm waiting for the official word before I do an episode on that, because I'll have a lot to say one way or the other. If they are coming, there's been reports that Sasha Banks has been released, and then there's reports that she's still on the active roster. That's why I'm waiting for official word before I comment on it. Hopefully Sasha comes back. That'd be another fantastic feud for Liv Morgan to have. Those two have went one-on-one before, and they definitely need to run it back. Yeah, unfortunately, her being on SmackDown isn't really the greatest because, like I said, it lacks sorely in star power. If she would have cashed in on Bianca Belair and been the Raw Women's Champion, I think it would have been a much better decision, because she could have had her and Bianca could have ran it back. She had Carmella, she had Asuka, she has Becky Lynch. There's so many more options and so much better talent on the Raw side of things than the SmackDown, but a title is a title. I'm not going to complain either way. Like I said, I have waited nearly 8 years for this moment, as I'm sure she has. In her interview, she said she won it for the fans. We've been rocking with her from day one. So, obviously, in my mind, that's fantastic. That's great. I could not stop smiling yesterday, cheek to cheek, just smiling over and over and over again. I was so happy for her, for the fans of hers, for myself who's a fan of her. Just smiled cheek to cheek all day yesterday that it finally happened. Finally got the big break. We were all starting to lose hope and faith in it. And she also continues that Money in the Bank streak for the women. Like I mentioned earlier, Carmella held it for 271 days before she cashed in on Charlotte Flair and became a one-time SmackDown Women's Champion. But after that, day of, day after, day of, day after, and now day of again. So it seems like this is a common trend with the women that they cash in either the day of or the Raw after or the Smackdown after. So it's becoming a common trend. So obviously you had to think, and I don't know why I didn't think of this in my mind. I just thought, oh, it's Ronda and Natty. I do not care about this match. Let me turn it off before it starts. I didn't even think, wait, if the way history is going, I should probably watch this match in case the Liv Morgan cash-in happens. And that's exactly what happened. And honestly, seeing it back rather than seeing it live didn't quite give me the same feeling, but I'm also glad I didn't see it live because I probably would have went crazy. So I'm kind of glad I went back and watched it later, and it was just happy for everybody, or for most people at least. I have a friend that does not like her at all. That's his opinion, but whatever. So yeah, SmackDown Women's Champion Liv Morgan moving to Friday nights. What can I say? Obviously, they see something for her in Friday nights, which is probably what explain that they lack massive star power right now. This is your chance. You didn't go with the Horsewoman. You didn't go with an Asuka. You didn't go with a Bianca or a Carmella. You went with somebody new, somebody fresh, something we haven't seen before. The Horsewomen, which is Charlotte, Bayley, Sasha, and Becky. We see them win all the titles. We see them in every main event. We see Asuka in every main event. This and that. If Liv Morgan didn't win, I would have loved to see somebody like Shotzi or Raquel Rodriguez win. I like to see those who they try something new. They try to build that new talent, for the future of the company. Liv Morgan is 28 years old. That is still fairly young in the wrestling business, especially considering most of WWE's roster is 33, 34 plus, 40, 45, so on and so forth. I love to see them give younger talent a chance. Yes, she has been around a while, but she never got her moment. Now that she got her moment, what does WWE do with it? Don't drop the ball. Give her a lengthy title run. Even if it's only the only title she'll ever get again, give her a long, lengthy title run. Build her up. Build up some new stars. Show that you are capable of building new stars. And I think with this next match that we're going to talk about, that's also what they're trying to do. But I love seeing them give new people an opportunity. She was sitting in catering in NXT for a long time. They didn't know what to do with her. Sitting in the main roster, tag team after tag team, not working out. Sitting her in catering, taking her off from TV, putting her back on TV, taking her off, putting her back on. About the last year or so, I thought she was going to win it last year, which I believe she should have won it last year more so than this year. I think she had way more momentum on her side last year, and obviously because I was there, I would have loved to see it more, but I guess better late than never on giving her the title and the Money in the Bank, but I would have loved to see her win it last year. It would have made a lot more sense. But like I said, better late than never. The final match, the main event, the other ladder match, the men's Money in the Bank. There was 7 people in this match. Madcap Moss, Baron Corbin, I believe, was in the match. Omos, Madcap Moss, Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, Matt Riddle. That's 5. I forget who else was in it. One moment. So it was... Wow, I don't even remember. But it was those 5. Seth Rollins makes 6. And then... I'm blanking on who the 7th is. But anyways, there were 7 people in the match. Turns out that wasn't good enough. After losing his United States title, they say Austin Theory has been added to the Money in the Bank ladder match. Well, Seth Rollins at this point was pretty... Oh, Sami Zayn was the 7th person in the ladder match. Sami Zayn. So you have all those guys. Austin Theory gets added. And pretty much at this point, Seth Rollins is a shoo-in. And then Austin Theory gets added to the match. And you're like, okay, that changes things. Maybe he's the one that ends up winning. And that's exactly what happened. Lots of high spots in this. Omos being a big guy. this was probably, for as green as that man is, this was probably his best performance, and it's because he had a ladder. Guys obviously are able to do a lot more things with the ladders, a lot more spots with the ladders compared to the women. Was a good match. Austin Theory wins Money in the Bank, or Theory now, after taking a stunner to Stone Cold, which I talked about in my WrestleMania review, which is live on the channel. You can go check that one out as well. Wins the Money in the Bank. Now, here's the problem I have with that. He lost his United States Championship earlier in the night. What? And here's where I say the logic gaps from WWE continuously miss continuously on that. Logically, where did Austin Theory deserve to be in the title match? Or in the Money in the Bank ladder match? He lost earlier that night. He lost clean. Like, if he would have lost by, like, disqualification, or if he would have lost because, like, his shoulder was up, which that happened in the Uso Street Profits match. The Usos won with the Street Profits shoulder not actually on the mat, so that'll probably lead to another match at SummerSlam. But if he would have lost in, like, some funky, like, foot on the rope, ref didn't catch it, whatever kind of way, then I could understand him going into Money in the Bank like, hey, I was cheated. But all he said was, Vince McMahon said he could be in the match. What's the purpose? He lost earlier that night. Why are we rewarding him for losing earlier on in the night? It makes no sense at all. And that's where the logic gaps that I continuously talk about come in. But like I said, he's 23 years old. They gave him Money in the Bank. It's another one of those people that, they're kind of building for the future. John Cena has been mentioned as his next opponent, so I could see a SummerSlam match of John Cena and Austin Theory, him with the briefcase, then have Roman or Brock win, maybe have Austin Theory cash in, and then set up the John Cena match. I don't really know where they're going to go with this, but I like seeing the future of this company get a chance. So both Liv Morgan and Austin Theory, both under 30, both have lots of years left in the business, and both finally get rewarded. Austin Theory has not cashed in his Money in the Bank yet. Only Liv Morgan did, so there was not 2 title changes. Roman Reigns was not on the show. He is both currently the Universal and WWE Champion. Him not being on the show, another topic for another day. But he'll be at SummerSlam, so maybe Austin Theory cashes in there. But if they don't do John Cena, Austin Theory at SummerSlam, expect once Theory cashes in to get John Cena, maybe WrestleMania next year in Los Angeles, because Cena's, Hollywood at this point. Maybe for one title we get Roman Reigns and The Rock, and the other title we get Austin Theory and John Cena. I'm just throwing ideas out there of what probably is going to happen, but overall a solid show led by my favorite winning a title, and I don't care what anybody says. No Liv slander will be accepted. If I see any Liv slander in the comments, it's getting deleted, or it won't get posted. Finally get her moment. I get my moment. Fans left happy. Sort of. Nobody really wanted Theory. Everybody thought it was going to be Seth Rollins. But honestly, I'm kind of glad Austin Theory won it over Seth Rollins, because I did not want to see yet another Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns feud. I am so over that feud. We've seen it 4,500 times, just like we've seen Brock and Roman 4,500 times. I'm over it. Austin Theory having the briefcase is a good thing. The women's successful cash rate is 100%. The men's is about, I believe they said 83, with Baron Corbin and John Cena, the only two who did not successfully cash in Money in the Bank. Overall, a decent show for the lack of build that it had, which I usually feel like that's how it works with WWE nowadays. The more build they have for the show, the higher our expectations become, and then the worse the show is. So if we just lower and hamper our expectations, then we get a good show. And that was the case here. Just like WrestleMania was a good show, even though, we didn't really have great expectations going in. That's just the way Vince runs things now. So that's all I have for you guys today. that is my Money in the Bank review. I will be back later this week to discuss the crazy changes going on in college football, specifically with the Big Ten, and while I understand the move, why I don't agree with it, so look forward to that. And yeah, that's all I got for you guys. I hope to catch you guys in the next video. Peace.